Hi everyone, this is Balázs from RacingBrick. You could see all these January 2023 Technic releases on the channel already. If you missed any of them, then there's a nice playlist accessible in the top right corner. There's only one box set left from the January wave, the 42148 Snow Groomer. You can see the machine working in its natural habitat on the front of the box, and on the back there's a B model, which is a snowmobile. Now let's see what's inside. It is a 7 plus set with 178 pieces. The price is €10 or $13 and it is already available in the shops. There are 4 unnumbered bags inside and a single manual. Apparently there are no stickers in this set. We get the new very small panel fairings in red this time and the link thread pieces that appeared last time in 2021 in a Technic set on the heavy duty Excavator. Now let's start building. The first few steps are pretty straightforward, then comes this assembly which will be the base of the control mechanism. Here's the link for the blade tilt control, and this is how it is secured in place. Oops, so here you go, this is how it will work. There's another control mechanism taking shape here at the rear using a simple linkage. Yet another linkage on this side. This is a pretty dense model actually. Time to build the gears for the tracks and the wheel that will help driving them. Same assembly goes to the other side, then comes the window and the base of the cabin itself. It is nice to see how a few simple pieces can give us a pretty good shape for the cabin. An interesting little detail, we don't often see this pin with bar extension being used this way, with a Technic bush pulled on it and placed in a cross-axle hole. The assembly is also held in place with the axle at the top. Here's the base for the blade, and this is how we connect it to the knob at the rear to adjust the angle. The blade itself is pretty simple. It takes advantage of the cross-axle hole in that fairly new small panel fairing. This is how it is connected to the base. We only have the smoothing plate to add to the rear, then assemble the tracks using 2 x 28 pieces. You need to pay attention as there are 2 spares. Mounting them is a bit tricky, but here we are. Our Snow Groomer is finished and functional. I think the end result looks really nice considering the size and the piece count, and the fact that it is literally filled to the brim with functions is very impressive. Driving it around is pretty easy. You can either grab the cabin or even better if you use the blade control knobs assembly behind it. Thanks to the wheels at the rear, the tracks won't slip. It doesn't need to be pushed down significantly. It is actually quite a challenge to make them slip, maybe if you only push it from the back and try to turn, but that's not really how you play with it anyway. We can control the position of the blade with the knob at the rear and it has a pretty impressive range of motion. The blade can be also lifted and lowered with the lever on the right side. The smoothing plate is controlled by the lever at the rear. And of course you can try to master the controls with using only one hand. It's pretty fun actually. You can try to fit a minifig in the cabin, but it's quite a challenge, and although he can fit in there, the scale is not very good. So the A model is very cool and functional. Let's see the B model. As usual, the instructions are available on lego.com. This is how it begins. This assembly will become the fuel tank, I guess. A few more pieces, then comes the support for the tracks that are essentially the same as on the A model. The second wheel goes in a different position, then the gears to the other side in the familiar configuration. Tracks are already added at this point. We have somewhat less space to fit them this time, so it's a bit challenging. We finish the rear section, then comes the assembly with the windshield and an interesting solution that you won't see on A models for sure. That 3-module long blue pin in the center has exposed sections left there that wouldn't happen normally. Another necessity is the grey tube piece on the handlebar. It looks okay, but there's nothing preventing it to slide on the red axle pin. This is how the assembly slides in place. Here comes the lower section and our build is practically finished. Again, very few pieces left, which is nice. Oh wait, even less pieces are left as I forget to add this beam here. So, here is the B model. And I think it looks pretty decent considering the limited inventory. Where it falls short is unfortunately the functionality section. In theory it has steering, but in reality that's only for the show. As you can see here, the rear wheel is driving the tracks, so you need to apply some weight there. Otherwise, if you try to hold it by the central section, the tracks might slip easily as there's no weight at the rear. But if you try to push it down there, then it is almost impossible to steer. The front just flaps around randomly. The model is probably too small to use both hands and I would say it doesn't really like to turn in general, so I would say this one is more for display. So let's sum it up. I think the A model is great with a very impressive amount of clever and playable functions squeezed in a small form factor, a great experience for the price. The set is also nice as a parts pack. We get a decent selection of functional pieces including lots of gears and of course the track pieces. You might ask why it is special to have gears in a Technic set. Well, last year LEGO managed to give us 2 sets with around 500 pieces without including a single gear, so just saying. The B model is supposed to be the icing on the cake, but unfortunately it is not different enough to add much to the build experience, and it is really not playable at all, so this time it does not add much to the equation. If I compare it to the other €10 2023 model, then despite the clever functionality of the Snow Groomer, I would still go with the dump truck. With that, both A and B models feel more balanced. Don't get me wrong, you get way more functionality and play experience for your money with both of them than some much bigger and more expensive Technic sets can offer. I just feel this one to be a slightly better package. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments, folks. If you like this video, then please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe with notifications as more exciting LEGO videos are coming soon. See you next time, bye bye.